Okay.
There we are. Good morning, everybody.
Good
Well,
morning.
we're back again. And look who I have with us today. It's Sherry. Sherry, tell the morning, good people, good morning, and who you are.
Oh, good morning, everybody. I am thrilled to be here. It's nice to be back on the show. Um, I'm Cherie Caldwell, and I have a coaching and consulting business in human resources. I'm also doing a lot of diversity and equity work right now. It's important conversations in our country to be had, and a moment that I think is really starting to maybe help move things in the right direction. So that's what I'm up to. I'm glad to be here and chat with you. I'm really interested in our topic today because I think there's a lot to learn, and I know there's a lot that can be shared with folks. They just need to come join us and find out more.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. I guess I have to tell y'all who I am. I am Rose Fauntleroy, your virtual time and sales genie. And I'm going to keep it short. I help you to reclaim your time so you can reclaim those sales that reclaims your bottom line. Simple as that. Simple as that. This morning, this week, we are in what's called intellectual property equals internet profits week. What exactly does that mean? That means that the thoughts you think that end up in print should be protected before they end up there. Think about that. The thoughts you think that end up in print should be protected. So this week we are talking about all things intellectual property. We are talking copyrights, trademarks, might even touch on a little bit of the patent, but we're not here to give you all the answers. We are here to give you information that's going to pique your interest so that you'll join us. Join us on Thursday, August the 20th, for a free webinar on your intellectual property rights. It's at bit.ly/IP Week 2020. So that's all the housekeeping stuff right there. Thank you for the hearts. Come on in with us this morning. I see them giving us hearts already. It's early
This
in
is
the morning.
good.
We appreciate those hearts. We appreciate you all. Oops, I don't want to hit that button. I'm trying to see the
Uh-oh.
comments, y'all, and I hit the end broadcast button. But luckily, over here, you have to hit it twice before anything happens. Good morning, everybody. Intellectual property.
Good morning.
The thoughts you think that may end up in print. That's a powerful thing.
This is really all about having your ideas and when you come up with something and how you can monetize that and leverage that. It's your creativity. It's your that's it's innovation, right? Innovation comes from thinking and your ideas. And when you have something, you want to protect that because that it can be a way to earn a living. It could be a product or a service that someone will want for you. And if you have the idea, you don't want to lose out on that opportunity or let someone take that from you. So protecting yourself and your ideas and your um, innovations and creativity and products and services is really important. So this is like a really good webinar to attend and to find out a lot more about protecting yourself and being able to leverage your own ideas to earn your income.
Absolutely, because if you go all the way back, let's say to Benjamin Franklin, if he didn't create the light
Oh my
bulb,
goodness,
and
yes.
the light bulb, of course, is the main thing that comes to mind. He created so many things, but if he didn't create the
Yeah.
light bulb, we'd be talking to you probably in the dark. So that's an invention. Think about that. That was something he invented.
That was the lightning and the key. What was he doing? Flying a kite in the lightning? Finding out about electricity, something crazy.
Yeah, don't try this. Don't try that at home. when you hear the storm, the thunder, once you see the lightning, the thunder is gonna follow. So don't go running outside with a balloon with a key in it and holding it up in the air. And don't try that at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do that. But if you think about way back then, he was thinking. He
Right.
was turning his thoughts into something. Look
Yeah.
at all the great inventions that we have, the telephone, um, the washing machine, anything that you have or that we have and can use now for our comfort, for
Hmm.
our convenience. All of those things started where? Right here in somebody's
Right.
mind. In somebody's mind. Now, as long as you keep it up there, of course, um, you don't have to worry necessarily about someone stealing your particular idea out of your head. Now, what does happen is people do think similar thoughts. Because if you hold on to your idea and never put it out there, I can almost guarantee you're going to see somebody on a late night infomercial. And you're gonna be like, wait a minute, I thought about that. But you didn't do
Right.
anything. You didn't make a move on anything. So the first
Right.
step is to think your thoughts, protect your thoughts, and then put some action behind your thoughts so that your thought become things. Your thought
That's
become.
good, Rose.
I'm gonna try to get my phone set up on Facebook so I can share out the broadcast. And we ask that you all do the same thing. Share out the broadcast because you may not need this, because you may not, be into turning your thoughts into things, into revenue, into wealth, into legacy. See, it's a whole process.
That's
There's a
right.
and it can be a very intricate process because there's so many things that you can do with those thoughts that you turn into things that you may turn into a product or a service. There are things that you can do with that doesn't necessarily involve physical labor, especially for my folks who are working hard. And a lot of people love to work with their hands and they love to do physical labor. I,
Right.
on the other hand, I am not a physical labor person. I am a thought thinking person, and I like to either sit down or lay down and think those thoughts and turn them into something that creates wealth and legacy. So for those who like to do that, this is a great place for you to be to learn about your intellectual property, to learn
Right.
about the thoughts you think. What you think, Cherie?
I think that's right. I think I sometimes think that people might confuse services as something that doesn't need to be protected, but you may have an idea around your service. So, for example, doing coaching, what if you create some kind of coaching methodology or you pull together two different things that people did and you make it your own? That's part of creating. So, if I have a belief that when you coach people, you're not just focusing on individual skills, but you're looking at the whole person. If I want to bring something new to the table in terms of a coaching methodology or to write a book about it, you'd want to protect all of those things and those ideas. And that's what people do. And so the protection might come in different ways.
Mhm.
Um, it might be that you make a suggestion that can take an already running process and make it run faster or run better or bring a little bit of extra quality to something else. So
Right.
these are important conversations. And we
Yeah,
don't always know about these things because, like you said, they can be intricate. And you need to kind of get some expert help on that and
absolutely.
find who's things are hard with on that as well too.
Absolutely, because a lot of times I've heard people say, "Oh, that's no big deal. I'm not worried about that." That. And the next thing you
Hmm.
know, like I said on a late night infomercial, you're like, "Wow, that really was a good idea."
Exactly.
You know, People are actually buying that, and you were thinking, and you'll
Right.
say, "But I thought of it first." Yeah, but you
Right.
didn't. You didn't move first. And see, it's
Yeah.
in the action. Everything is in
Right.
the action and in the implementation. You know, um, Matter of fact, I'm gonna make it personal. My niece, I have a niece. and I hope she's listening. I'm not gonna call her name. She shared an idea, just off the cuff. She shared an idea, and I guess she shared it in a, in a, not in a forum or online forum, but just in a group of friends. And somebody in that group took off with that idea. They really did.
Wow.
And she was a little miffed, a little upset, because she's like, well, that was my idea. Well, that's why we have to be careful what we share with everybody. You can't share,
And when you share it,
and when you share it, because you never know what's going to pique someone else's interest. And they be like, huh, wonder what I could do with that. I wonder, that's a great idea. Well, you kind of act like you didn't want it. You're not tied to, you're not going to do anything with it. They
right?
decided to. See, it's in the action, it's in the implementation. And say for instance, you had done something with that idea, you had protected it beforehand. You may have written a book, written a poem, I don't know, just wrote a sentence on a piece of paper. There are a lot of books and
Exactly.
poems that are just one sentence. We think of books as many pages. It could be just one page, one sentence. And if
Right.
you copyright that, because a lot of people think about what they call the poor man's copyright, where
Right.
you write it on a piece of paper, you put it in an envelope, and you mail it to yourself. Okay, that's good, but that's not going to get you federal protection. It doesn't. It doesn't. It does show that you did write this. This is your creation. This is your creation. Yeah, you sent it to yourself. Yeah, but the federal government where you register at doesn't know that.
Right.
You have no documentation besides that sent to yourself, okay? Sent to yourself, but you didn't file it anywhere. And that does give you some protection, because I'm not giving you all any legal advice at all. Put the disclaimer on it right now. Do your own research. Matter of fact, get in the class that we have up here, bit.ly/IP Week 2020. We're not going to give you any legal advice, but we are going to talk to you about your intellectual property. And there are many forms of intellectual property. You have copyrights, you have trademarks, you have patents, you have trade secrets. Trade secrets, Cherie. You're working for your company.
Right.
When they hire you, they put all these forms in front of you. One of those forms might be a non-disclosure agreement. Because guess what? You going to work for them, you're going to learn a lot about the internal workings of that company and the
Right.
things that that company may invent. Hell, the things that they might even invent with your ideas.
Right.
Think about that. How many of you out there have worked for a company and you've been in the, I don't know, staff meeting, pull up meeting, whatever it is, and you share this idea and say, well, we could improve on this process, or we could improve on this by doing this, and this. And it saves the company, I don't know, $100,000.
Right.
And next thing you know, they say, well, you try to go and protect that idea because you're thinking, wow, I was on to something.
Right.
And you go to try to protect it, and you find out it's already been protected by your company.
Right.
So now, does it belong to you, or does it belong to them? That's deep. Think about that. Think of, because we don't,
Because
because
really,
we
a
don't
lot of companies, a lot of
go.
companies will have you sign all, like you said, all those papers in front of you. One is probably non-disclosure agreement. One's an intellectual property agreement. I mean, intellectual property agreement that says just what you described.
Yeah.
You have an idea, you create it, and because you're in the context of working for them, it belongs to them. And so, it's helpful to know about these things. And so I think an info session to give you information, to help you start your research, to kind of outline all the things that are out there that you need to consider, is just what you need. This is a free advice situation, not legal advice, but a free information session to help you understand the lay of the land in this territory around protecting your ideas and what you should go look for and research when you have an idea. Do I need a copyright, a patent, a trademark? What is it, right? And how to
And do I
understand
need
that.
an attorney? And do I need an
Right,
attorney to walk me through these things? You know, you have a lot of photographers. For instance, you'll see a
right,
beautiful picture online, and then you may see that in a commercial. Now, the question
right,
is that the photographer may be saying, how can they use my my photos without getting my permission? Think about that. There are a lot of instances. I mean, like for instance, McDonald's. You can't go in McDonald's and see that's the difference. This is the intricacy of it. When you think of McDonald's, you think of hamburgers now. But in the
right,
beginning, if someone said McDonald's or McDonald, what would you think? I might think old McDonald had a farm.
right,
Or you may think about a person named McDonald. In the
right,
beginning, McDonald's didn't signify hamburgers. But see, that's the difference. Those are the intricacies. For instance, when you say Apple, you think of
right,
computers now, but back in the day before that became a trademark product of Apple, okay, you thought of an apple to eat.
right,
But Apple is being used in a different context. Apple equals computer. That
right,
that that's unusual. McDonald's for hamburgers. That's unusual. So those are some of the intricacies that would make something trademarkable. Because
right,
everything's not you can't get a trademark on any and everything.
right,
But a lot of people don't know that. And you can't confuse brands. If you have okay, I give you another one, Aquafina. When someone says Aquafina, what do you think about?
well, water now.
Water, right? Because aqua equals water. But now, if someone else came along and wanted to try to trademark um, aqua water or something along those lines, they wouldn't be able to trademark that because
Right,
that would present brand confusion in the market. You see, because Aquafina has already done it. Now, when you think of bubbly, what do you think about? Do you think
oh,
about champagne?
champagne.
Right. But
Yes.
bubbly was smart. It's bubbly water.
Ooh,
Bubbly is a brand of water, and it's a sparkling water. It's not champagne, but it's water. But think about how they played on that. So see,
yeah, that's smart.
those are the intricacies that that you have to think about. Um, and then you got to look at um, let's go back to working for the company in the trade secrets.
Right,
You don't think about those things. And see, especially when you're being hired by a large company, global company, and they have you sign all of these documents, a lot of people don't read those documents but so much because you want the job. It's with a prominent company. You're ready to sign away your life, and you could be signing away your life. You have to really pay attention to the documentation. And with
you
trade secrets,
do.
that's why a lot of foreign powers that be are always trying to hack the United States because we have so many gallant and great inventions and ideas and things that are in the works that we don't even know about, you
Right.
know. Um, when the
Just the
I call
technology space alone.
exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
Um, when I call it the coronora, the COVID-19, the coronavirus. I call it the coronora. Okay. I don't know if you've seen some of the stuff that's gone around, that was being sent out about They already knew about the coronavirus and its patent number, dot, 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 dot. Okay. I didn't take that for face value because I'm one of them readers. I'm one of them nerdy people. So I went and looked up the patent. And there is a patent on the coronavirus. Not this particular one, but there are a lot of coronaviruses. There is a patent on it. There are several patents on it. And see, that was patented long before we knew anything about it. Because see, they had the forethought to think we need to put a patent on this because this may be something that's going to cure something later down the road. It could be something that's going to be used in medical research. So they had the forethought to do that. And those are the ways that we need to be thinking as business people to increase your wealth.
Right. So anticipating things and being ready for something.
That's
right. That's good.
Being a business owner is not just always about making the money. Yeah, you do need that money because that affords you opportunities and that affords you the resources to put protections in place in your business.
Right.
So it's more than just about the business, the money. There's so many things in between from the beginning and the end that you really have to think about. And you may be saying, well, I'm just a small business. I'm just one person. I don't ever want to grow my business past one or two people. I'm not trying to be a big corporation. You don't have to be, but you need to think like one.
Right.
You need to think like one.
Right.
I just feel it's important. I'm not going to call this person's name because I just refuse to do it. But if you look at certain buildings that have certain names on them, that person has nothing to do with that building. But what they did was they protected their name. They protected their brand. They protected their whole brand. Then what they did was they chopped up pieces of that brand and they licensed it out to all these different companies that you see this name up on the building. They either license that name out for a lump sum payment or they license it out for royalties. Some of those royalties may be paid over the lifetime of that brand. Think about that.
Wow.
Think about that. That's where I'm talking about your wealth and your legacy. Because when this person leaves the earth, and not just that person, there are several people who have done it. But when that person leaves this earth, their royalties, their brand will continue to live on. Whether you agree or disagree, it's a fact. It's a fact. That's legacy.
Right.
That's legacy. That's providing for that, as we say, we always say we want to leave a legacy for our children's children. That's how you do it. That's one of the ways to do it. So see, you can still be a company of one, but you can still provide in the future for many.
Right. And I think that's good. I think sometimes we, small business owners, we're just not aware. And you're right. I think we think some of those complex things are just for corporations, and we don't know that the things that we can put in place for ourselves and how we can use our brand to create a legacy. But it starts with protection. It starts with knowing whether you should trademark, patent, or copyright something, so that it can live on.
Absolutely.
And especially like writings. Writings are easy. A lot of times we're posting things, people writing white papers or articles and things like that. Those just, those can get passed on. And if you've said something very profound and it catches on, you might be missing out on something you created.
Absolutely. And it's not just, and see, it's a process. But you said that is very good, Sherry. That is very good. Because you just may post something and
Right.
you had this awesome thought and it hit you and you posted it. Well, yeah, it's in the public forum and you want folks to enjoy it. And yes, it is somewhat protected because it was a thought that you thought. But that thought that you thought ended up in print. Okay. So now what happens to that print? Yeah, it's somewhat protected because it was yours and you created it. But if you want to be able to perhaps stop someone else from using it and maybe using it in a way you wouldn't want it used, or
Right.
they don't ask your permission to use it, you have to file federal documentation in order to be able to tell that person, no, I don't want you to use that. It doesn't
Right.
always have to be, rah, rah, I'm going to sue you. Well, yeah, that gives you the protection to do that. But sometimes it's as simple as contacting the person and saying, look, I don't want you to use that. That's not
Right.
how I meant it. You didn't ask my permission. Please stop.
Right.
Now, they have the choice on whether or not they stop. If you have federal protections in place and they choose not to stop, then we're talking a whole different subject.
Right.
And we're talking a whole
This
different.
is good information.
Yeah, it's not
These
sexy.
are important conversations. But it's important conversations to have, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, because you could create something or invent something, and that might be the only thing that you ever did because you had that one spark of creative genius.
Right.
It could set you up or set your
Right.
legacy for the rest of your life and the
Right.
rest of your family's lives.
Yes.
And we just don't think about it like that. And
Right.
like DeMar said, most people don't even know what's protectable or what's not. What's a
Right.
protectable idea, you know,
Right. Right.
So
No, that's good.
you need to be in a forum of people who have that knowledge and who can direct you in the right direction to go with
Right.
what you're thinking, with those thoughts
Right.
that you think. Um, as we said earlier, don't forget to share the broadcast. The sharing is
Yes.
key.
I know. And as we said, this may not be sexy, but it's essential. It's important knowledge to
Exactly.
get.
Exactly. And everything doesn't have to be all nice and sweet and sexy and warm and fuzzy. Sometimes you just got to get down in the trenches and do business.
There you go.
And do business.
That's right.
Your bank account will make you
Yes. And that's what we're talking about. Your intellectual property becomes internet profits, right?
That's
So there
right.
you go.
That's right. Intellectual property equals internet profits. And not just
There you go.
internet profits, you could take it off of the internet. You can take that thing out into the physical world,
Yes.
but put some
Yes.
protection on it. Put some
Yes.
protection on it,
Very good.
What else can we talk about?
Oh, I don't know.
Let's see. The importance of thinking through your business, thinking through what you want to do up front.
Yeah. Right.
You see folks walking around with T-shirts with sayings and things on them. Some folks don't even know whether that's trademarked or whatever. Your logos, your
Yes.
taglines,
Yes.
all of those things are protectable. Should be protectable. Everything's not. Like I couldn't go out here and trademark Rose Fauntleroy. I'm not big enough yet. Now Oprah could trademark her name, which I'm sure she's done. I'm sure she's protected across the board. Across the board. And we don't want to use something of someone of that caliber and not ask permission and wait for the response. Because we don't want to get a cease and desist letter. You don't want to get a knock at the door and someone's handing you a letter and you open it up and they say, well, you use such and such on so and so, please take it down. And they give you so much time in which to do that. And most of the time that's all that's needed because folks don't know. They be like, oh my God, And they'll tell you in the letter, if you don't do it by such and such time, what the next step's going to be. And sometimes you can try them. You can try them, and don't do it and see what happens. Sometimes something happens. Well, sometimes it doesn't happen. Most of the time it does, because when someone creates something, they don't want it taken by somebody else, because there are like what you call poachers and, little thieves that, sometimes people steal word for word. I don't know why, but they do. So,
that's too many examples of it though. So, it's right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's nothing. And see, that's another thing. It's nothing new under the sun. It's how you manipulate and change that sun to make it yours.
Right.
To make it yours. And that's the important thing. What's yours, you want to keep yours. So y'all, bit.ly/IP Week 2020. Go and register. Go now while it's on your mind and while we are talking to you about it. Go now and register for the free webinar on Thursday. It's Thursday, August the 20th, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Right.
So that you can get more information and to learn how to protect your valuable intellectual property.
There you go.
So that you can have some internet profits.
There you go.
And you can have them without the fear of seeing it somewhere else. Or if you see it somewhere else, you know that you have a mechanism in place that can
protect yourself.
That can protect that. So with that said, everybody, Sherry, anything else you want to tell the people?
No, it's been nice sharing the spot with you again today, Rose. I appreciate it. You have an awesome day. And everybody else out there too.
Yeah, bye, everybody. We've enjoyed you all this morning. Bye.
Thank you.
This time, y'all, I'm going to hit the button twice, so we are going to leave.